Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host, Aaron.
Today, we're finally getting to a movie that I've been wanting to do since it came out. This was a movie that a lot of people definitely weren't prepared for how batshit crazy it gets. And just how crazy James Wan can get. I know James Wan has been very prominent in the horror and I guess even like the action adventure scene for quite a while, since I think Saw was 2003,
Something like that, yeah.
something like that. So he was like the pretty much the creator of Saw. Then he went and did Insidious, and then he did the Conjuring universe, and then one or two Aquaman movies, and those were pretty much when he was doing Aquaman, it's what pretty much allowed him to kind of do his own thing now, which is Malignant. And I love this film so much. I've seen it at least 20 times, maybe even more than that. Aaron's seen this once, and it was your first time yesterday, right?
Yes.
So right off the cuff, what did you think of this film?
It's fucking wild. But you don't know what to expect going in. Just like going based off of, like I said, I read very vague descriptions, and so I didn't really know what to expect. But just then when you start watching, even that opening like scene, like the opening credits, and just
it's nuts, dude.
Yeah,
it's batshit nuts. Like, you are thrown into this ride immediately, but you're confused because you're like,
the first half of the movie, you're very confused.
Like, you kind of already, like, you are introduced to quote unquote the villain of this movie, or like the main like antagonist, but you don't get a clear vision of what this thing looks like. It's behind like like a sheet
shadows
or whatever,
and
but it's nuts. Like I said, I've seen this movie so many times. There's a lot of mixed feelings for this film, especially when it came out. A lot of people are like, oh, this is kind of dog shit. But I don't think people really understand the genius of what James Wan was doing in this, because there's so many genres mixed into this.
Oh yeah.
It has a lot of giallo. It's an American giallo done right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you got
with like a modern twist on it.
Yeah, it's got the mystery to it. It's got the police element. It's got the black gloves, which has always been kind of a prominent thing. You can kind of thank Dario Argento for the villains and all those giallos of wearing black gloves and using like a knife or something sharp to kill the victims.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a James Wan film too, because like you get like a lot of like Conjuring vibes, and like.
And I think this film is beautiful, in my opinion. I love the lighting in it. It's all pretty natural, because James Wan likes to use a lot of more natural light and natural elements, more than like a lot of artificial stuff. He's also a very practical guy too. I mean, there's obviously like CGI in some parts, but you can tell when it's practical. And it's really towards the end when you start getting things together, because of how they're kind of using the thing.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. But I love this film. Whenever I don't know what to watch, especially now that it's back on HBO Max, because it was off for a while, but then they put it back on, and I'm really happy they did that. I also kind of want to get I don't know if they have any steelbooks out yet for this, but as soon as the steelbook drops, this is the first thing I'm buying. I think it's on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's on 4K. I think I've seen at Target that it was at least on Blu-ray. I don't know if they still have it in stock or not, but I'll have to check on that. But I think, without us spoiling too much, I think that's kind of like the best way of describing.
Yeah, best bet is to go in blind, honestly, for the best experience.
But the thing is, even like, I watched all the trailers for this movie, right? I watched them all. and I could not gather for the life of me
Yeah, they're all very vague.
what's going on, because it misleads you in so many ways. Like when you think you know what's going on, and then it kind of does something else in the trailer, and you're just like, wait, what? What's that? There's a lot of really cool scenes in this, especially like, you know, like with the everything melting in the background. So that's like an aspect of CGI being used in this, because obviously you can't do that practically.
But it's used right, though.
It's used right. It's used very tastefully, and not to say that James Bond's like the first one to do something like that. I just think that he's the first to kind of do it in a way that it looks cool as fuck. You know, this whole movie is cool as fuck.
It really is.
The soundtrack is fucking amazing.
Yeah, just the slight the score is just so simple too, though. Like, but it's effective.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you gotta love like the Where Is My Mind Pixies cover that they use in it too is so fucking good. Especially where everything is placed. It's not just thrown on and it's like hoping it's gonna stick. Everything in this movie has been planned out, and I'm really, really, really fucking excited for James Wan's next movie, because I think it has to do with androids. And they have a poster for it out right now, and it looks creepy as fuck. I'll have to show you after. But for anybody who's wondering, go look it up. I forget the name of it, but I know it's in the works right now of being filmed. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm hoping within the next year or so that we start seeing some sort of trailers by the end of this year. It would be really, really nice. But this is literally James Wan not having anybody tell him no.
No restrictions, just
it's
straight out of his head.
Just do it. And guess what? This fucking movie made a lot of money. And Aaron, if you want to pull up the IMDb so we can get some of those stats and whatnot, and I will go through all the cast, and then we can jump right into this fucking nutty movie.
All right. Well, as we already mentioned multiple times, James Wan is the director.
I think there was, what, 2 other writers or something like that, I think?
Yeah, so the writer was Akela Cooper. The other producer was Michael Clear.
Oh, okay, the producers that I was thinking of, okay.
Let's see, so it came out September 10th, 2021. Yeah, so just under a year.
Yeah. I'm so happy we're fucking doing this, dude. You have no idea. Like, as soon as, like, when I was making the list, like, obviously I know, like, where, you know, like what we're doing for the year, but as soon as I saw Malignant peeking up, I was like, yes, we can finally do Malignant, yes. Like even the poster, like we have a variant of the poster up on the screen right now. Just that shot is fucking awesome. I love the logo. Jello. Yeah, I love the logo. It's so sleek and like simple. I fucking love it.
Like I said, it's vague, so it leaves you wondering and misleads you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess by the name you can kind of tell like what's probably going on, because when you hear Malignant, you're kind of thinking, oh, it's like a malignant tumor or something like that, or whatever it is. So you can kind of probably guess that it's going to have to do something with that, but you don't know exactly what. And obviously, we'll get to that later.
Oh, yeah. So we got box office. Gross U.S. and Canada, $13,391,791.
Damn. We don't have a budget, just a box office. Yeah. There's no budget for this film? That's weird as fuck.
Right.
It had to have been around like 10 million, because a lot of his films are like 10 million. But that's still really good.
Yeah, worldwide $33,991,791. Oh wait, sorry, $33,991,791.
Damn. So it definitely, you know, it made its money. That's only not even a full year, by the way. So just imagine what it's gonna be like in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Especially when they start like releasing like other variants and stuff of like higher quality films. This is definitely a film that you go grab some popcorn and sit down and just go for a ride. Don't go into this thinking a lot of magical things, but definitely go into it expecting to come out with what the fuck just happened, okay? Because this is definitely a what the fuck just happened film.
Let's see.
We can go through the actors if
That's
you
where we
want.
go. Alrighty. So for the cast, we got Annabelle Wallace, who plays the main protagonist, Madison Mitchell.
Yeah, she's definitely been in other things, but I'm not 100% certain on the films.
Boss Level, Silent Night, Come and Find Me, Tag, The Brothers Grimsby.
That might be where I've seen her.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of them, but personally. But, she was in a King Arthur movie.
I think she did a great job, to be honest. I think.
Oh yeah.
With like especially what her character goes through in this film, a lot of people are saying like, "Oh my god, her performance was awful." It's not. The whole movie, she's fucking confused like everybody else. I mean, you
You're
know,
going for the ride with her.
Exactly, you know, and then when everything starts coming together, it gets really fucking crazy.
So then we have Maddie Hassan, who plays her sister Sydney. She's been in Novitate, Novitate. Never heard of it. Looks like it's about nuns. Malignant, of course. Taurus, We Summon the Darkness, God Bless America, I Saw the Light.
Wow, so he kind of picked a lot of like, not like super well known actors for this, and I kind of like that.
And then we got George Young, who plays Kakoa Shaw.
It's so funny too, because when I first saw this, because if you see like what James Wan looks like and then you look at him,
Oh, I know.
they almost look identical.
I think if he had a blonde streak in his hair,
I literally thought that he was
not
being
racist.
No, I'm not meaning it in a racist way.
No, they do look very
But
similar.
like if you like look at it really quick and you don't really know, like I literally thought that he was James Wan, and I don't mean that in a racist way. I'm not racist. I just want everybody to know that. I just want you to know if you just look really quick, he
yeah, no, I could see it. They get the same like
the body, and plus like their body like type is exactly the same.
very like slender.
Oh, he's also in Nothing, so you can just say that he's just in Malignant. So this is like his breakout role, essentially. So that's pretty good.
Michelle Brianna White, who plays Regina Moss.
Bitch.
Oh yeah, I couldn't stand her.
I did not like Moss. I actually a little bit more underneath her belt.
I Will Follow, Lila and Eve, and She Hate Me.
Not familiar with any of those.
Jean Louisa Kelly, who plays the Jane Doe.
Okay, yeah.
Or we'll find out later who she is.
We'll tell you. Or you can go watch the movie right now and find out.
And then come back.
Yeah.
Oh, she's from Worcester, Massachusetts. Look at that.
Woo! Yeah.
She was in a movie called Ruby Bridges, which did pretty well. Let's see, Mr. Holland's Opus.
She was an Uncle. Oh, she was an Uncle Buck. That's right. Wasn't she? Not the girl. It was the one that he was dating. I think, right?
I think so. Tia Russell.
Or was it the other one? I always get confused.
Or the sister, mother maybe. I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie in forever.
And now I have to go rewatch Uncle Buck. I always need a reason to watch Uncle Buck. I love Uncle Buck so much.
Call of the Wild. I've been meaning to watch that actually. No, maybe it's not this one, but one of them. And then the Fantastics, which did not do well.
Yeah, it's also a pretty small cast. I mean, there's a lot of like
throwaway characters,
a lot of extras for reasons you will find out later.
Okay.
and that scene is bonkers. But yeah, there's not many
like main characters.
No, it's pretty much just Maddie and like the sister.
Yeah. And then
everybody else is kind of just there for the story and the plot. Yeah.
Then we got Susanna Thompson. Let's see. She was in High Noon. But, she was not. A lot of her other projects were not doing too well. Ghost of Mississippi, Little Giants.
I've definitely seen Little Giants.
Random Hearts, Dragonfly, 7%. Jesus.
7%. Yes, let's go, Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I'm glad she got something that's doing pretty well under her belt.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can go down to the reviews that stick out.
Well, what is our tomato meter at?
All right, so it is certified fresh. 168 reviews. Critic score. Let's take a guess.
Certified fresh. I'm gonna go like 89.
76. Should be higher, but.
And that's certified fresh. I'm so confused on the certified fresh.
Yeah.
Like, does it have to be 75 and above for it to be certified fresh?
I feel like I've seen movies that were certified fresh, but still lower than that, though. But I could be.
I wonder if they just do it like if it's
like movies that are like
favoritism thing. It's like, oh, we really like this, so we're gonna give it a certified fresh rating,
which would make sense, I guess, since seeing as they're like a critic, site.
Yeah.
And then audience score 500 plus verified ratings. Take a whack at it.
Well, I noticed it had a lot of mixed stuff, so I'm gonna have to go. It's got to be like in the middle somewhere, like maybe like 52.
Holy shit. Cheater.
No, I swear I did not look at your phone, Aaron. I promise.
Yeah, right on the dot.
52. Wow. I knew that had a lot of mixed reviews, but I didn't think it was going to be that close to 50.
Right.
Oh, well, let's see what people are saying.
All right. So we got David Stratton, who's a top critic for The Australian. He says, one cheerfully draws from the extreme work of horror film aficionados such as David Cronenberg and Dario Argento as he piles on the bloody violence. Yeah.
That's very accurate.
Yeah, I could see the influences too of like David Cronenberg, kind of like sort of like Reanimator vibes, right? David Cronenberg was Reanimator, right? No, fuck. What movie was it?
David Cronenberg has done a lot of stuff. He did The Fly.
Oh, that's who I'm thinking of, The Fly. But still, you can get those same vibes from it, though.
He's got a new movie coming out. It's like Crimes of the Future or something like that. I'm really, really looking forward to because it looks bonkers as fuck.
Yeah, but either way, you get that like scientific-y like vibe, you know. Let's see, and then we got Becca James from the Chicago Reader. She says, Malignant is the type of movie that requires viewers to strap in and shut up from the onset.
Yes.
That basically sums it up.
That review right now that should be top. That should be the top one. Yes, because literally that to shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride.
This one's negative.
Oh, let's read it.
Malignant isn't a good movie, but the bones of its giallo salute are just outlandish enough to make one wonder if the obtuse moments are purposeful.
Ugh, get out of here, man. It's not a good movie? Fuck you. I hate people that just say a movie's not good. Every movie, in a sense, is good. It just may not
its own
be
ways.
Your favorite film.
Yeah, it's good to somebody, you know.
Like me, motherfucker.
There's no way to watch this deranged follow-up and not conclude that Juan's back where he belongs. Yeah.
Yes, and I cannot wait for more projects from him.
And then we got one more negative one. Malignant left us speechless, unable to process what we just watched or who pitched this.
Wait, that's a bad review, though?
Yeah.
Honestly, with you saying it left you speechless, that's usually like a good thing. Because my first viewing, I was definitely speechless until I watched it again, and then things started clicking more. This is definitely a multiple viewing movie.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those ones that like you catch stuff each time you watch it.
I don't remember if I saw this in the theaters. I think this is obviously during the pandemic, but I think it was during the time where everything was just pretty much on streaming, so I didn't feel like I needed to go to the theater. And I will say I'm really fucking happy I didn't go to the theater to watch the new Firestarter. Holy fuck, was that awful. I'm sorry. It was really bad. Aaron, I know you haven't watched it yet, but you need to, because we need to review that movie, because
so we can just tear it apart.
Like we obviously did the original one a couple weeks back, and if you try to hold this one up to that, the older one from 1984 rips this one apart. Like, holy fuck, it was all awful. There's a lot of whispering and like talking and stuff like this when they lower all the music and all you hear is this. And even at the end when he's like, you know, like what happens at the end with Charlie and everything, it's like, Charlie, you gotta do it. Charlie, do it. It's like, can we stop fucking whispering?
It's like they're trying to give off a dramatic effect, but it's just
The only thing good that a lot of people were talking about, and I'm like literally on with him with this, is the music was pretty damn good, and that's really it. But enough of Firestarter.
Anyone can put music over a movie, and
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what they did with that one is they kept it very true to the original one, which had that kind of like that John Carpenter vibe to it. So they definitely stuck that with the new one. But yeah, it was not good. I'm sorry. But I think if we're all set and you don't have any last thoughts or anything, we can jump right into Malignant.
Alrighty.
Aaron,
want me to open up?
Yeah, go right ahead. This is your first time watching, so I want you to lead the reins today, my man.
All right. So, the opening to Malignant, the opening credits, it starts off, already like just like what the fuck. But I believe it's just it's one of like a recording of the Doctor at first. This takes place, well, the beginning is 1993, and we meet Dr. Florence Weaver. And she's filming because she works at like a was it like a children's like they specialize in like surgery for like
it's like some kind of like it's really like an experimental facility for them to be like, oh well,
it's like
we
a
can
classic
help.
like big mansion on a hill.
Yeah, it's very like best way for me to kind of describe it is like an X-Men type thing. Yeah. Is like the best way
like
to do it.
They'll take in children and
so it's like, you guys are gifted, so we'll help you. We'll make your children better, stuff like that. So it kind of gives off like X-Men vibes, in my opinion, anyway.
But so her and her fellow doctors, Victor Fields and John Gregory, remember those names?
Yep.
They're working with a patient named Gabriel in this research hospital. It's called Simeon, Simeon. It's like gets a weird I in front of the. That would be Simeon, right?
Yeah, I would say Simeon. I'm not the best reader in the world.
Yeah, they say it in the movie. So anyway, you get like this opening credits. It's like just like kind of like flashes of like what's going on, but like she's filming a video talking about this patient named Gabriel. Yep. And she's interrupted by her colleagues, and so they say he got out. But so anyways, Gabriel is very special. He's
extremely special.
Extremely. So he's got powers per se, which we'll get into in a moment. But
you get a very, very brief like almost understanding of like what this thing's capable of, but you don't know what this thing is. So you're thinking an alien?
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Or some sort of like psychic being. Like that's what I'm saying, like X-Men, because it really kind of gives off like it's a mutant, from X-Men. So you're like, is James Wan doing like a spin-off of like X-Men or some shit like that? Which I mean, you probably could interpret it that way. But yeah, this whole opening scene is just fucking bonkers.
But yeah, so then we cut to like what present time. Well, yeah, we cut to like the not present time, but like she leaves the office and they go to check out what's going on, and there's like a door locked. They're like, do not go in there, he'll kill you.
Everybody's fucking freaking out.
Yeah, so some guy comes in, he breaks out this big ass tranquilizer gun, and he goes in and
it's fucking arm.
Yeah, he gets his arm cracked. Just like bent the way it should not
like
be bent.
Bones like sticking out. He's like, ah!
Down fracture in his forearm. And at this point, multiple staff members are dead.
Yeah.
She goes in. They managed to like subdue him.
Yeah,
and
she
like
shoots him with the trank.
Oh, okay.
So she takes that guy's gun. Like, I'm just gonna fucking do it.
Yeah. So they take him out, and she tells him to strap him to a chair. And you get like a quick look at his feet. You can tell obviously it's a child because it's got like
bears or
like
something.
Bears or something. Yeah, on their socks or his, his name's Gabriel. But anyway,
You've been a bad boy, Gabriel. Some pretty good quotes in this.
Yeah, and you do get a very, very like vague look at Gabriel. He's under a sheet, and it's like in this like locked up like.
It's like an operating room, essentially, is what it looks like. It's like kind of like they were starting to do some sort of operation that just went completely haywire, right off the bat. And obviously, she was in there logging what she was probably about to do.
Yep.
But then got interrupted because I guess they must have sedated him, but it probably wasn't strong enough, in my opinion. So that's why they probably were getting a train gun out, because they could like use like an actual like horse tranquilizer or something, and just like knock it out. But yeah, it's fucking nuts.
And then this is at the point where she's like, "We gotta cut the cancer out.
It's time to cut out the cancer." Yeah.
And then you get like these like quick, like I said, quick flashes of like surgery, and you get like these bloody like like chunks coming out, but like they're very quick, so you can't like, you don't know exactly what's going on. You can't see like what they're operating on, and you just see like up close like shots of like
like you kind of like when I was first, I'm just trying to bring myself back to the first time I watched this, and when I was trying to interpret what was going on. You just, you don't know if what you're watching is what, if it's the thing that you were just like,
or if it's just like bloody scenes to use.
And I mean, we also got to admit that the music during this part is really good too. It's very minimal, but it's really, really cool. You're very confused. Like, it's a bunch of operating stuff. There's a bunch of like goo and stuff on the screen, and a lot of like
very dirty
skin being torn. So you're like, what's going on here? Is this?
It's pretty grotesque, honestly.
Yeah. Does it have to do with what we just watched? Is this something completely different? Because I think when I saw it the first time, I thought it was something like unrelated. It was just kind of showing a bunch of stuff that happened in the facility, not really what was going on with the specific thing that we were introduced to. So it is kind of confusing the first time you watch it, but I think it's kind of meant to be that way, even though all the clues are literally right there in front of you, and it just goes right over your head. Because I don't want to say if you're smart enough, but I will say that if you pay close attention, you can kind of
figure it out,
like what's kind of going on here.
You get an idea of it, but yeah. So it's a cool opening scene though. We're starting off fast.
Yeah, extremely fast.
Then we cut to 28 years later, and we meet Madison, or Maddie.
Yeah.
And she is pregnant. She lives in Seattle. Sorry. Seattle.
I like that state.
Yeah, I love Seattle. So she gets home from work, cause she's like a nurse or something, I believe.
Yeah.
And she comes. First off, like, this house is creepy as fuck. Why would you want to? I mean, I guess it's
a big house.
Yeah, it's a big house. But it's like it was just her and her husband, so it's like, why do you need that big of a house? But it is nice though. It almost looks like it's abandoned though. Like, it looks dirty and like.
I guess like what I can kind of gather from that is because obviously she's at work all the time, and when we get introduced to Derek, he doesn't really seem like the type of guy that will be like, I'm gonna fix it up.
I'm gonna dust, I'm
gonna go outside and paint the walls.
True. But yeah, it's kind of run down, but it's still like it's nice. Either way, but it's an old house. But yeah, she gets home. She goes upstairs to find her husband Derek, who sorry, I'm trying to think of the word, like right off the top, like I already don't. You don't already don't.
He's got like
he's got this vibe to him.
He's got the TV blaring. He's on the bed, like laying like a douchebag, who's not really talking. It's more kind of like patronizing her, like, well, because she's saying like she's like in pain or whatnot, because she's probably like in like her second or third trimester, what it looks like. She's like, oh, well, the little one's been giving me a hard time, and he's like, well, if you're in pain, then you shouldn't be working. And it's just like, dude, the fuck? Like, if she thinks like she can handle it, then let her do it. She works at a hospital, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if something were to happen, she's right there anyway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he definitely, he gives off, like, douchebag vibes. And when she, like, shuts off the TV, when she, like, wants to rest, he gets all pissed off. It's like, well, I was watching that. It's like, okay, or whatnot. And then they start talking about, you know, how she's had multiple miscarriages before. And, like, when he said this made me want to, like, punch him in the face. Is he says to her, how many times do I need to watch my children die inside of you? Like, that is such a fucking awful thing to say.
I know.
It's like, you need to be more supportive and not put on more stress than she kind of already had, you know? And it goes like from 0 to like a million in like 1 second. Because all she's doing is she just wants to lay down, man.
Yeah.
That's what she just wants
to take a fucking nap.
Wants to relax. And this motherfucker, instead of like letting her go and relax, like goes face to face to her, gets pissed off and fucking throws her into the wall, smacks her head, and so now she's like pretty much like being knocked out essentially. And then he's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry."
Yeah, he tries to turn into a good guy immediately after.
No. You don't do that shit, dude. You gotta get your temper in check, especially with her being, you know, the carrier of
his fucking child,
the child's, and you're already saying how many times we need to watch my children die inside you, and you're gonna go and do that shit.
Yeah,
you're obviously the main cause.
Mm-hmm.
Is what you're gathering at this point. It's like she's had multiple miscarriages. This guy's a piece of shit. He obviously abuses her. She doesn't have enough energy to even like get up and be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
you know, essentially it's like she's already drained from work. I know,
she has a kid. Not even have a job. Like, she's supporting the family, and she's.
It seems like he doesn't do shit. If he does, what does he do? Like yell at
watches
people?
UFC.
Yeah. So that's happening. He runs out and she goes and locks the door. Then this motherfucker comes back and it's like, I'm sorry, let me in. I'm sorry.
I'm not like that.
I've been going to counseling and stuff like that, you know. So we kind of cut to that night, and this was the first thing I think he saw in one of the trailers was the night of like it all being kind of like weird and shit. So he's sleeping on the couch and she's upstairs comfy in her own bed, you know. But you can tell that she might be in some sort of pain because she's kind of moving around a lot, which, I mean, she just got essentially a concussion, you know. So yeah, he wakes up because he hears a noise. He runs into the kitchen. Then you get like a close up of the blender, which you think it's gonna have like something that's gonna happen is like related to that, but it's not. It's kind of just like, you know, a red herring, I guess you could say, or whatnot.
Yeah, just something to like get you thinking, but then
yeah. So then he hears a TV turn on. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he walks in there, and there's someone just sitting there, and it's just a black silhouette. It honestly looks like something out of like a Japanese horror movie, like you can like Ringo or something like that, with like just with the black hair.
Yeah.
You kind of get that vibe a little bit at first, but you're also still kind of figuring out what am I looking at, because it goes away really really quickly.
Yeah.
He turns on the lights and it's gone. And then what the fuck else happens after that?
The fridge like shoots open.
Yeah, he goes to the fridge, that's right. And he goes to look at it, and then quick little figure just pops up and smashes his head against the wall. But you see it really, really quickly. It's like so fast. And then she wakes up, and then she goes downstairs to figure out what the hell's going on. And this guy is like twisted like a fucking pretzel, dude. His neck is all like busted out. His legs are all twisted and shit. So it literally looks like something out of a cartoon. It really does. So she's like freaking out, like, oh my fucking god. And then you see the thing like pretty much doesn't like really attack her, but it starts like running, and she starts running, and then it slams into the door where she's trying to go. and then you see her like crawling up the stairs. Like, you keep in mind that she's also pregnant, and she's moving pretty fucking quick, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, right.
For a pregnant person, you know. And then she manages to get up to her. I think it's her room. She just locks. Well, she doesn't lock the door. She
like tries to lock it, but it's like,
yeah, it keeps slamming, and then she falls back, and once again, crack right in the head.
oh,
So 2 times in one day, her fucking head gets trauma. And then this is where kind of like the Jalo like aspect kind of comes in, is the police.
yep.
So that's where they're kind of tying that in, and you get introduced to Kakoa Shaw, and
It's such a cool name too, the Kakoa.
Kakoa, yeah. And then Detective Moss, I forget her first name. But yeah, she's
She wakes up in the hospital.
yeah, they go in there and they're all like, what the fuck happened and whatnot, and then they see the fucking Pretzel
Oh
man.
yeah, the Pretzel man.
And then we get introduced to another person from the force who is Winnie, I think that's her name is.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And you can tell that she's really lonely and whatnot, and she likes Kakoa, you can tell. And Moss knows that too, and it's just like they kind of like certain scenes that play out where they're just like, okay, just calm down, you know. But yeah, so they wake up. Well, Maddie wakes up in the hospital with her sister by her side, Sydney, and she's confused. And then Sydney asks her like, "You don't know what just happened?" And she's like, "No, but I need to see my baby though." And
then she
like,
realizes, she's like, "Where is he?"
it's like your baby didn't make it. And she also says that, you know, Derek is twisted like a fucking pretzel, essentially, you know.
Like a human balloon animal.
Yeah. And then the next day, Detective Kakoa Shaw shows up and wants to ask Maddie some questions. But her sister's there, and she's like dressed as like a princess, and she explains that she works at like some fun land or something like that. So she's like, well, yeah, whatever. But Maddie is like, so like, what the fuck's that word? Not comatose, but like when you're just not there.
Just like, yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Like,
you guys know what word I'm saying, but I'm gonna say comatose. But
yeah,
you
I
guys
guess
know
that would
what
be
I mean.
a good word for it.
She's
though.
just like so detached from reality right now, because this is like what, her third or fourth essentially like miscarriage, and then her husband's dead, and she's in a hospital, confused as fuck, doesn't know what just happened.
Mhm.
And like Sydney can't even get her to eat, is what she was saying, which is also really crazy. So he just says, well, here's my card, and just, you know, kind of talk to me later. And then this is the crazy part, is when they go to the autopsy, is you don't really know exactly what happened to Derek, but what they're explaining is weird, because like all the handprints and everything are upside down.
Oh yeah.
So you're like, what does that mean? Like, upside down how? Like meaning like they were grabbing from a different spot, or
Well, like he was pulled up from the roof or something, like the ceiling.
So you're kind of confused. Like, you're thinking like, how could that be upside down if it was like a person, or even like some sort of being? Like, how would it be upside down? So they're even kind of confused. But I think like, so how would that happen? And then I think Detective Moss is like, I think the motive is that he was an abusive husband. She was being defensive. Which, I mean, in any, you know, logical...
How's a pregnant woman gonna fucking twist a guy like that, though?
Yeah, exactly, but I mean, like, also in like any like logical thing, that's what you'd fall back on. Is like,
you're not gonna jump to like, oh, it was a ghost or something.
No. So it's fucking, it's nuts, dude. And so that's kind of like our first lead into the craziness of this film. And then Maddie goes home.
She insists on staying by herself.
Yes, Sydney wants to stay. She's like, I'm going to stay with you just to make sure things are fine, whatnot, to make sure it doesn't happen again. She's like, no, I'll be fine. For losing her husband and a baby, she's pretty like well put together, but it might just be because
she's putting on like a facade, or like, she's just so shocked at that point, like,
yeah, and so she's just playing it off. So she goes to, I think she's going to take a shower or something like that. And then she sees out her window of her bedroom that the lights start flickering, which also happened in the front of her house the first time this happened. So she's just looking out there, and even you as a viewer, you're kind of looking out there like, what is she looking at? Because it's very, very dark.
Yeah.
And then you just start seeing like the shadow kind of like move up. It's very, very hard to see, but if you're really looking, and then like there's a music cue, and then it starts like sprinting, and then you're like, what the fuck? So she goes and like locks all the doors and closes all the shades, but there's one door that keeps like opening, even though she closed it, it just keeps opening. And then I don't think. No, it does come. It does make it into the house, right? Yeah, so it comes into the house, and then she runs upstairs again. But she actually manages to lock the door this time without her being attacked. And then she says, "Now this is important, boys and girls. This is important. It's all in my head.
It's all in my head.
It's all in my head.
It's not real."
And that's what she keeps saying. It's all in my head. It's all in my head. That's very, very important. Very important. So hold on to that. Aaron, if you want, you can take up the next one.
Yeah.
That's when she's, I think, boarding up the house.
Oh yeah. So sorry. Oh wait, did we
skip something?
when she when the tour lady gets kidnapped, was that after?
Oh no, that's after.
Out of order. Yep. Okay.
That's after.
Yeah. So the next day though, she's boarding up all of her windows, her doors, and she basically barricades Fort Knox her house now.
Literally, like I would too, to be honest.
Yeah, right. After my door fucking busted open like that.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
After locking it. Yeah.
So yeah, she's in her bedroom now. She's looking at the hole in the wall from where Derek pushed her, and just kind of like, oh, what the fuck is happening right now? And then she goes to walk by a window, and fucking Sydney's there.
Yeah, so you wrote down here, Sydney jump scare.
And she's like, what?
You gonna let me in?
And so she like pulls her through the window. She's like, I brought you a casserole, but it's downstairs. I couldn't climb with it.
Yeah. I actually, honestly, whenever there's like a sibling in horror movies, they're always kind of like pieces of shit, and I hate them.
I like Sydney.
Is great.
She is. I love her character.
I think she's like the best like sibling horror movie like side character ever, in my opinion. She's down to earth. She's really supportive. And just the things that she goes to do for her sister is unbelievable, especially after what she's told during the scene too.
Yeah. Let's see. Sorry.
You're good. Grab my drink.
But yeah, so she lets her in, and she tells her that Derek pushed. She sees the hole in the wall. She's like, what happened here? She's like, I fell, or like I hit my head, and I'm trying to remember the rest of the context in this scene, because
she pretty much says that like Derek did that, and then she goes in to explain that the reason why she really wanted the baby and whatnot is to feel like a blood connection, like an actual blood one. And then she was also explaining to Sydney that she really did want to leave Derek, but by the time she got the courage to do it, she was pregnant again. So she was like, well, now I have to stay.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So she's like, if she didn't have the baby, then she would have been probably off by herself or with somebody else. And then after she says that she wants that blood connection, she tells Sydney that when she was 8, Sydney's mother adopted her. Because Sydney is very, very young compared to Maddie. They're like they're 8 or 9 years apart or something like that. So
that's right. Okay. And then meanwhile, so this is when we go to like the tunnels and shit.
Yeah, but another really cool thing too is like as soon as she says I was adopted, we get the remix of the Where Is My Mind song, which it hits so hard, dude. I love this theme. Like I think I even sent you like the actual song, because there's an actual band that did it, that like remixed it, and it's so good. And I was really confused too because and a lot of other people were as well. Like I was on Twitter and stuff while this was coming out, and I was like looking at other people's reactions, and then other people were like, "What is that song?" And then one person commented was like, "I knew it. I knew this was a remix of Where Is My Mind." And I was like, it is, because I was confused at first. Like, this sounds so familiar. What is this? And if you're not really gathering the themes of this so far, a lot of it has to do with the mind,
like psychological and like
the mind and the head. There's a lot of head trauma, there's a lot of head talk, there's a lot of mind talk now with the theme and stuff like that. So a lot of things,
memories,
a lot of things are starting to kind of intertwine.
Yeah.
And I think it's fucking great, to be honest. But go ahead, Aaron. You can talk about the tour guide, Jane Doe.
Jane Doe. All right. So yeah, we cut to like this tour guide. She's like, it's like the underground tunnels or something. I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
some kind of tunnel, but like she's giving people tours, and so it's dark under there though because they're underground. But
awesome set designs in this film too, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Especially this like set that they have going on. It's great.
So yeah, then we meet our bad guy again. And she is kidnapped. Well, she's like closing up the place, and so she's in there by herself. She starts hearing shit. So she ends up getting kidnapped by an unknown being, or person. And
this is an awesome scene too.
And then she ends up getting like strapped, tied up, and like with like this like what looks like an attic. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, this will confuse you because this confused the fuck out of me too. I'm not gonna like jump ahead or anything, but when you're looking at this, you think it's a part of like where she was.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So like you think that, so you're like, oh, this is like in some factory somewhere. So it throws you off because when it hits where it is, you're like, that's that. You get really confused.
Yeah.
But that's what I love about this movie. The whole fucking thing is confusing up until like the last like 40 minutes ish. So it's almost like a 2-hour movie. So it takes a while for you to eventually reach the point of like knowing what's going on, like you as like the viewer. It's nuts, but yeah, keep in mind that where you think this place is, it's not. It's not where you think it is.
You'll find out soon enough, though.
And I think we have a little bit more of the remix playing when Gabriel's getting fitted and stuff.
Yep.
It is so fucking awesome, dude.
Yes.
Like you are almost kind of chanting for this villain guy because he looks so badass. He's got like the leather jacket. He's got the long black hair. He's got these fucking gloves that he's putting on weirdly.
Yeah, right.
Like when you're watching him put them on, you're like, that looks weird, but you're like, oh, well.
You just don't think anything of it.
You're like, whatever.
But then Madison has another dream or a vision, and we go to Dr. Weaver's house.
Yeah, and Gabriel I think calls her before too.
Yep. Yeah, so she's in her house.
Doe's phone or something.
Yeah. So she gets a call, and we hear Gabriel again.
It's time to cut out the cancer.
It's time to cut out the cancer. So then Gabriel is in the house and attacks the doctor. She slams her up like against a bookcase and just throwing her around. And then he takes like this trophy with like a already like pointy edge. Like, what kind of fucking trophy?
Dude, it is a badass weapon.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even joking. And like also with Maddie, like, sitting there watching the whole thing and like the background melting and like morphing into her house is fucking awesome as shit. But she's literally just stuck,
like paralyzed.
But you see like her hand kind of like move too. So you're kind of thinking like, what's going on with her? Like, because you're already kind of thinking that she has some sort of
some kind of like power, connection,
like some kind of psychic connection to whoever this person is. Because because every time Gabriel's being shown and Maddie's being shown, they're never really in the same place, except for right now. Yeah. So it kind of if you're having any thoughts, it's kind of already debunking what you think might be going on.
Yeah.
So it's a ride, and I'm here for it every time I watch this movie.
Yeah. Like, there's still parts that I'm confused about, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But so then Gabriel proceeds to stab the doctor with this trophy repeatedly. And it is fucking brutal.
Blood everywhere, and Maddie's just like, oh, it's freaking out.
Just watching this shit, not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then we go back to Shaw and Moss continuing their investigation. They're at the doctor's house at this point. It was, they were called in, and they end up finding a photo of Maddie as a child in her house.
Yeah, they don't know that as of right now, but you can gather, because she was Weaver was already going through files, so you're already kind of putting two and two together that Maddie must have been part of whatever she was doing.
But yeah, so you'll learn that later on anyway. But anyway, they find a photo of the little girl in her house, and they find out that she is like a specialist in like reconstructive surgery for kids, and she's got all kinds of like awards and trophies and stuff. And they're like, oh, she got killed by her own trophy. And then anyway, so then Maddie and her sister Sydney, they go up to the police, and they're like, they're trying to explain like, what's going on, and they're just like, this is
because Maddie was saying like how she can kind of like, she saw Weaver essentially die in her house. And like, it's also funny too,
and they just kind of brush it off, but
when they're investigating everything there, when they're like, oh, the trophy broke in two, and Winnie's like, she says something, and then Kakoa kind of says something to her, it's like, yeah, we're all looking for like our second half or something like that, or try looking for your second half or something like that. So they kind of joke around, and then we get like jump back to where Gabriel is, and he's like sharpening and like breaking the thing apart,
make it into a weapon.
Yeah, and then he like throws it at the Jane Doe, and it says, "Don't even try." And because he has like this, he talks through.
Oh yeah, he uses like electric waves and like phones and radios and shit to communicate.
Yeah, so he's got like this really cool voice. I think.
But yeah, so they find out she's a specialist in surgery, reconstructive surgery, and they go up to the house. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch myself up.
Yeah, they're at the police station with Sydney and Maddie, and they're talking to Shaw and Moss.
And then they're being interviewed, and then this is the part. Oh, this might be later on where she's like, Gabriel did it, and like they're like they don't believe her, and then they get the call
later. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll catch you up, because there's a lot of like weird like
I guess I'm still confused about this freaking movie.
So they're there, they're talking and whatnot, and then they leave, and they're like, whatever. But Shaw says to one of the other officers, Bosco, to take the photo that he found and age it 30 years or something like that, or 30 years. He was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then we jump to some dude's apartment or something, and then things start happening there, and then we start to kind of put two and two together that Gabriel's there. And then Maddie wakes up. She like turns and she starts screaming because the dude that we were just watching is in the same bed with her.
Yep.
And this is an awesome scene, and that's what the poster is with her laying down, and she's got like the red light on her because she can see across the sign.
Sign. Yep.
And Gabriel's like crawling over her, so she's like, oh, what the fuck? And then Gabriel brutalizes this guy with this new weapon he made out of a trophy, just like slicing his neck and like poking his like brains out and shit. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And then next day, Maddie like goes to the police again. It's like, okay, there was another killing. I saw it last night.
Yeah, she like describes like, you know, where the building is and everything.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, so you like watching some, I don't know, what they said that she was watching some sort of show that made her think that, whatever. Moss is the one that's always kind of like
dismissive,
being
and
like a bitch in a way. Well, Coco is very like, I want to help,
yeah,
and whatnot. So it's like good cop, bad cop, I guess, essentially. So yeah, she's with Sydney, and Sydney's like, you know what, we'll go to there. If it didn't happen, you can lock her up, and then you can put cuffs on me, essentially. So they go to the place, and then they arrive. The Sydney and Maddie stay outside while Coco and Shaw go inside, and they knock on the door. And they knock on some random guy's apartment door, and it's not that one. Then Moss knocks on the door, and it opens up, and they're like, "Oh shit! All right, so I guess we're
welcome in.
we're doing it." So they're investigating, and then they find the body.
And it is fucking like brutalized.
It's done, dude. It's like ground beef. It's literally ground beef. And then we cut to a picture that Maddie was telling, like one of the people who draw like the
like the sketch artist.
Yeah, the sketch artists or whatever. And it's literally like this deformed,
like demon
thing.
Looking like.
And then Moss says, "So I'm putting a bolo on Sloth from the Goonies." So I was laughing so hard at that. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Like, she's a bitch, but she's funny as hell.
Yeah, so, that one's really, really funny. And then Sydney, I think, is talking to Shaw while Maddie goes to the bathroom, and this is when things start picking up even more, because now Maddie is getting calls from Gabriel, but from before it was, you know, the doctors.
Yeah.
Now it's Maddie, and he's kind of explaining to her, it's like, they're just telling you I'm all in your head, like they always do, like, you know, I'm real, I've always been here, Emily. So she's like, that's not my name. It's like, he's like, it is your name, just your new like bitch mother or something gave you the name Madison, something like that. And then Maddie gets really pissed off and says, "Gabriel, no!" And it's like, you know, I was right.
He's fucking with her.
Yeah. So then Maddie leaves and grabs Sydney. It's like, okay, we gotta leave. And then Bosco walks by Shaw's desk and asks, like, "Hey, did you get that photo done?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's on your desk. Isn't that why you brought her in?" He's like, "What?" So he goes to look under it, and it's literally Maddie. So he's like, so is she the one that's doing all this shit? So like, that's kind of like what it's leading to, is like, especially more Moss than I think Shaw thinks Maddie
is killing all these people,
is the person that's doing it. Because I mean, like,
if you're thinking logically,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how else would you describe that?
Yeah.
Like a doppelganger.
Literally, that would be like the only actual explanation.
Yeah. And then this is kind of weird. They drive to their mother's house because Maddie wants to get some questions done. So, and they're like, "Oh, how's it going?" And he's like, she says, "Who the hell is Gabriel?" And then their mom was just like, "No, I don't know why you know him. I thought he was gone." She has that face of like,
kind of she knows something. Oh yeah.
You know. And then we get to the videos. You can take it from there if you want, Aaron.
All right. Oh yeah, she like shows her the home videos. That's right.
Yeah. These are really cool, by the way.
So yeah, she's showing her some like home videos from when, you know, she was a child, and there was one where I think they were celebrating something. Her mother made
birthday,
is that her birthday?
Like yeah.
Her mother had made a cake, and then like they're filming though, and like you see like there's like a big swipe from the cake, and it's all fucked up, and her parents are lecturing her. She's, you know, like, "You ruined your mother's cake," and you know, blah blah blah, all this shit. And she's like, "Yeah, I didn't do it. It was Gabriel. It was Gabriel." And you know, they're like, "You can't blame this all on Gabriel, on your imaginary friend."
Yeah.
And so she gets in trouble, but and then as you know, Gabriel can only communicate through like telephones and like radios, but But so she's talking on like this like phone.
Yeah, it's like a toy like LED phone.
Yeah, it's all
lighting up. It looks pretty badass.
It is pretty cool. But you can hear her like talking on the phone. She's like, you know, when you do this stuff, I get in trouble, and she's like arguing with Gabriel.
Yeah.
And so then Gabriel was like you hear, or you obviously can't hear what the conversation is, but you know, she's like, oh, it'll be a good surprise.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, so she's getting a reward out of whatever, you know, he's telling her, you know.
So anyways, yeah, so and then Gabriel, or not Gabriel, sorry, Maddie, she goes down to the kitchen. It's like nighttime. Everybody's in bed. She goes down to the cake. She she grabs a knife first.
Yeah, a big fucking knife. Yeah. Like a Michael Myers chef knife, man.
So you're like, oh shit, where's this going? But then she walks up to the cake. And then I don't even think she actually cuts it, but then she like turns around. She goes upstairs or goes into her.
She's like hovering over the cake, and then it morphs. And
it fades into it. Yeah,
and then you see her like hovering over the mother, and the knife's right above the belly because her mom is pregnant, and she's pregnant with Sydney. So she her mom like wakes up and looks at her, and then she kind of snaps out of what was going on and screams.
Yep, and then like throws the knife.
Yeah. Nobody was harmed though, thankfully.
And the mother's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
It was Gabriel."
Yeah, it's always Gabriel. Because it is Gabriel.
It is.
It's not lying.
So then I think then that's when like the police, they want to get like a psychiatrist involved in all that. Did I miss any? I feel like I missed something.
Yes, when Shaw he's going through all like the books that they took from the place, and he opens to the back and it's a bunch of flash drives.
Oh, yep.
Which we got out. This is the thing. I don't know if this what happened like during like the recent years of where she was, but in the 1990s, especially 1993, they weren't flash drives. They were fucking big ass like discs.
Yeah, like floppy discs,
like memory discs. So I wonder if maybe she
like transferred it all.
She transferred over to a flash drive. That's the only way I can think that it would make logical sense. So yeah, he's going through all that, and he finds out that Maddie's name is really Emily, and that he finds the other doctors, and he finds out that Dr. Gregory is the last one that's alive. So he's like, oh fuck.
So he notices the pattern, and
so he has to he's pretty much like hauling ass. He looks up where the doctor is, which is kind of weird that he Googled it immediately, and then there's his address. You know?
He's right there.
So he like hauls ass there. Then Maddie gets into more like morphing rooms and gets placed into this bathroom, and then we figure out that where she is where Shaw is, and also where Gabriel is. So now there's 3 people there. Well, technically 4. We don't see Gregory get killed or anything. We just see him in the bathtub, and Shaw
his like wrists are all slit and shit.
Yeah, Shaw walks in there, but then we see Maddie like in the corner. She's yelling to him, but he doesn't see or hear her at all. So you kind of right now you're thinking that she's like in some sort of like other world, essentially. And then she's like, "Oh, Gabriel's still here. He's still here." And then we see Gabriel like pretty much lunge at him with the fucking
that trophy
sword knife dagger thing. And then it starts a chase. That's actually really cool.
This scene is really cool.
Yeah, he's like, Gabriel has some wicked strength or something, because he's like just leaping down. Sorry, I just smacked my
parkouring.
Mic. Yeah, he's just like leaping from because it's like the emergency ladders or something like that.
Oh, the fire escapes.
Yeah, so then Shaw has to run down manually, and then by the time Shaw gets down, Gabriel's already running, but he jumps off. He's like, "Oh, fuck."
He's like, "Am I really about to do this right now?"
Yeah, and he falls onto like the trash and then
bounces off. Yeah. So he's hurt. But yeah, they end up like getting into this big chase. And you can notice something's off about Gabriel, the way he's like running.
Yeah, it's like there's got to be something.
He's like all
wrong.
discombobulated and shit. But like, yeah, he's doing some badass shit though. But yeah, so Shaw chases him down the street. He goes around the corner. He like kicks open like so smoothly too. Like just fucking kicks open like this little like basement window and just slides right in.
Yeah, he's a fucking snake.
So then Shaw fucking dumbass goes right in with him after him. But I mean, he's trying to get a job done. Obviously.
Yeah, he's a cop. I mean, he's got to run down these leads if he's right there with this so-called murderer.
But like, if I was in this, fuck that. I'm not going in that little enclosed.
For this shit.
Yeah, literally.
Call for backup.
So then yeah, he goes in. He starts chasing him around this room. I'm pretty sure, isn't it like it's not the underground like tour place, isn't it? No. It's like similar. It looks like
it's got like a lot of old,
it almost looks like fucking like Freddy's like lair with all the steam and shit.
Yeah. Like I said, the set designs in this film are pretty cool when you get to like the really weird shit. Yeah, I don't really know.
Oh, it was just
must be some antique holding spot that's not really kept up.
Yeah,
is what I can think of. But yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so he's shooting at him. He doesn't get him. I think he gets him like once or something, but it doesn't even phase him.
No.
And then he ends up like cornered, but then he like runs up a fucking wall and like climbs into like some space and
Shaw's just like, what the
he's like,
fuck?
I can't do that.
He's like, what the hell, man? It's like,
what am I getting
myself into? That whatever this thing is, it's not from this world.
Yeah.
You know. But then again, maybe it is from this world. Who knows?
We'll find out
very soon. And now this is the hypnotherapy.
That's right. Part. Yeah. So then,
oh wait, we actually jumped. So the cake cutting is this part.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
because they're watching the videos together. That's right.
I thought it was a tape one, so we can kind of just skip all that. Yeah. So Maddie just has a hypnotherapist, and she relives that one moment that we already talked about.
Yeah.
My bad. I thought it happened with the tapes. So
all good.
Yeah, cause I have one quote here that's actually really funny from that. Is Moss says, "Wait, are you saying the killer is your imaginary friend?" So she has like a lot of like,
and just the way she says it to everything too. It's like, you're saying the killer is your imaginary friend.
Yeah, she's like, very like sassy.
Yeah.
I love it. But this is the layer. The layer part with when she breaks free. Yeah. So here you go, Aaron.
All right.
So remember how we told you that what you think this place is not exactly what you think this place is, and I was so blown away at this part. My mouth was literally like as low as it possibly could go. It felt like my jaw was off my face. I was like, what? So go ahead, Aaron.
So yeah, they get this like psychiatrist here. She starts freaking out after like reliving these memories and like remembering all this stuff. She snaps her out of it. And then they're in the other room, and then we cut to the Jane Doe who's trapped in this lair, this factory, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
She manages to reach for like a knife or a blade or something and saws herself out. She's looking around. She's like, okay, I gotta make an escape. She takes a couple steps forward and just fucking falls through the floor. Then you cut back to Maddie's house, where everybody's meeting in the living room over, and you just got this bitch just fucking right
falls through the damn house, dude. And this is when things I think started kind of clicking with me at this point, and it probably will with you too, because if you realize that Gabriel's not up there,
no.
And Maddie's downstairs.
Mm-hmm. So the police put 2 and 2 together. They're like, well, I mean, the missing lady just fell from your attic. You knew about all these murders.
Yeah, so
we're taking you to jail, bitch.
And they find the trophy.
Find the trophy. They find the gloves, the jacket, everything.
Yeah, in her fucking attic. It does not. But the reason why it doesn't look like an attic is the fan.
Yeah.
If that fan wasn't there, you would think, okay,
that's what threw me off.
Because if you look at the house, because I think it's like towards the back of the house, we never see the back of the house.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if that was like like an on purpose type thing, so that way you
won't figure it out.
Like figure that out immediately. Because I literally thought it was this.
I thought it was the same place they kidnapped her out. Yeah,
that's what I thought it was too. Like he found some weird like
a back room or something.
Because the reason why you think this is because there's a point in time where they show like a building that's like a factory, and it zooms in to the lair.
Yeah.
So you're like, so that's where he is. And also when he's running, it looks like all those areas that he's at. So it's like it's an attic that hasn't been like kept up with at all. Maybe Maddie didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
Because it's dusty as fuck up there. But it's nuts.
And clearly it's not kept up if that lady fell through the floor, you know.
Like you are so discombobulated at this point, but you are starting to kind of put
it's like
things together a little bit.
Yeah, you think you know what's going on, but you don't. But then you're starting to figure it out, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sorry. Yeah. So they they arrest her, and then
Sydney, I think, tries to go inside and say that if you go in here, we're going to arrest you.
Oh, we're going to arrest you too, yeah.
But Sydney's off to go kind of do her own thing, so they don't take her in or anything because she didn't know, apparently, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so then, she goes to, like, do research and, like...
Yeah. And Maddie's also being, I think, interrogated as well.
Oh, yeah, she's being interrogated. She's in this, classic interrogation room. And this is with the call and shit like that. So she's like, I didn't do it. She's like, I don't know what's going on. She's trying to explain to them. You know, they're not having it. Or what's her name? Moss isn't having it.
Yeah.
But, like, even, Shaw's just, like, at this point, he's, there's nothing I can do, you know.
It's like you kind of made this grave for yourself, I guess, so, like, I can't really help you as much as I want to, anyway.
So they're interrogating her, and, one of their phones ring, it comes up as an unknown number, and she's like, Gabriel wants to talk to you.
Yeah, and, like, before, I think all the lights, like, blew out.
Oh, yeah, the lights, like, explode, and, they're like, what the fuck? Yeah, and then the phone rings, and they're like, she's like, Gabriel wants to talk to you. So...
You found my things, and I want them back.
His voice is just so fucking terrifying.
He's very, like... I would not want to mess with him just because of his voice.
Yeah. And then they're like, who is this? And he's like, you know who I am.
I'm her imaginary friend. That's what she tells you, right? And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so then then that kind of start to believe her at that point, but like...
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
She's right there, and the dude is on the phone with you, even though they still lock her up.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anyways, meanwhile, Sydney, she's driving off to the middle of nowhere to this old research hospital.
Yeah.
And to find out, see if she can find files, anything like that, information she can. And then, so she goes in, it's all, trashed and dusty, gross.
I gotta point out, why the fuck did this bitch to drive her car way up
right at the
very end?
Yes, I noticed that too. I was like, what are you doing?
Every time I watch this, I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And like a lot of people were saying that too when this movie came out. She's like, she
did not need
give us like anxiety.
I know.
So it's like, what the hell? And she like gets out perfectly fine. Like, and it's windy too. So I was like, oh my god, her car is gonna be fucking blown away.
You gotta put your emergency brake on.
Yeah. It's like, why?
Oh man. Yeah, so she sees this place and she's down the road from it and she's literally just whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's just
Big fucking place, too.
It is, yeah. And like I said, it's like that stereotypical, like, almost like a Frankenstein lab-esque, like, it's on a cliff, and
yeah, it's nuts.
So she gets into this place, and very pretty easily, actually. Like, she just walked right in.
Essentially, yeah. We didn't see her break any doors or anything.
But she's in the main lobby. She's looking around. She sees the sign. She's like looking for records. She says, medical records. Basement floor, of course.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
what the
she's us at this point, how
like, of course it's
of course it's going to be down in the basement, right?
So and then she's looking through all these boxes. She ends up finding files on someone named Emily, and so then she's going through all these papers, and I guess it says in here too that the place was locked, so she must have broken. But I just noticed
that's kind of okay.
Anyways,
I'll take its word for
it. Either way, not that really matters that much. But
this is another fucking thing when you find out who the Jane Doe is. You're just like,
yeah. She finds out a lot. So she finds out that Gabriel is actually Emily. It's Emily, Emily's twin brother, essentially, who lives inside her, as like it's like a tetratoma.
They describe it more. It's like a tumor, but it lives off of like, the dominant host,
like a parasite,
it's pretty much like a parasite. That's fucking crazy. And then we also find out, because she watches like one of the tapes that's Emily's mother.
Interviews. Yep.
And it fades from her to the Jane Doe in the hospital. And
it is Maddie's mother.
And Shaw's like, that's Maddie's mom. The Jane Doe.
Yep.
So Gabriel knew all along who everybody was and where they were.
He had everything planned out.
So he's been, just laying there, and there's a lot of other shit that you hear later on too. Mm-hmm. What Gabriel does, but we'll say that later once it gets towards the end.
They explain like everything, like what exactly Gabriel is, and she finds out. But then we cut to the prison.
Oh, this is when it's just like, what movie am I watching right now?
Yeah, I know. It turns into like an action movie.
Yeah, so Maddie's locked away with a bunch of other, like, I guess, petty thefts or whatever, just people probably being held there overnight. But they start picking on her. And as you know, they're talking like on the other side with Sydney and Shaw when they're going through all this stuff. And even like Sydney's mother when they are like, because even her mom's like, they told me that she died in childbirth, so she didn't even know that Maddie's mom was actually still alive.
Yeah.
So they're talking about that, but it cuts to Maddie, and you see her like ripping her head open while she's screaming.
Oh, yeah, they're like, oh, this bitch is having a seizure.
Yeah. So she literally gets Gabriel out. But her face it's gone.
She's like, she's like, just like, what's the word? Almost like her mind's not there. Like, it's just her body is just being taken over.
Yeah, and then you see, because you were saying earlier, like Gabriel, it feels like something's off. It's because he twists her. He literally breaks her arms so he could flip them on the other side, and like turns her feet so that he could walk.
Yep.
And it's really funny too, because the whole movie when you see Gabriel, you don't see another face. No. The hair's covering it. And this one, you see Maddie's face. So it looks weird as fuck.
Yeah, she's.
And so it's like it's really disturbing when you see the other face there, and he's like killing all these bitches, and then one of the other ones is like shouting for the cops, and he manages to break out. Then he goes into like the main hall. It's a fucking bloodbath, dude. He's like, this.
It's so smooth about it too.
This Gabriel dude, like he even says later on, like, I know your body better than you do, Maddie. And he's like flipping and dipping, dodging bullets, breaking people's necks, ripping them apart. He slices Moss's like stomach open. He hurts Shaw, and then he kills all the backup and everybody. The only people that are left is like Shaw, Moss, and the forensic lady.
Yeah.
And as they're trying to escape, he just takes his chair and fucking whips it, dude. Oh my god! And
like,
then
that must have it broke off of him too. Like,
yeah, it's nuts. But Gabriel / Maddie, now that we know that's both of them, he leaves, and where they Moss is like telling Shaw, because he's like in, I guess, slightly better shape than her, because her stomach's literally like out.
Yeah.
Says you need to go stop him. You know where he's going. He's going to the hospital. He's gonna go kill
the mom.
Serena.
Yeah.
Serena. And then Sydney gets there, and because she put 2 and 2 together already along with her mother, and then she goes there, and then she talks to one of the guards, like, I need to get in there.
Limits, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta call Detective Shaw. He'll tell you, he's like, I can't let anybody in here. But then you start hearing like this noise, and then he's like, oh, it's an older guy too. He's like, my pacemaker, it's like burning up inside me. And then you just hear, and then he just dies. And then Gabriel goes in there.
Oh, and that kind of goes back to how like good of a person like Sydney is too. Like, she was just getting yelled at by this dude, but like he's like, ugh, and she's like, oh my god, are you okay? You know?
She's
not a piece of shit like any other character would be.
Yeah, she's like, gotta get the fuck out of my way, whatever. Yeah, she definitely cares about everybody, and you don't see that.
She's
a lot
selfless,
in movies, so I really like that. But yeah, she gets in there, and then Gabriel manages to essentially show up too, and then Shaw. But Shaw shoots Gabriel a couple of times, even though Sid says, no, you're gonna hurt Maddie, because you obviously you're hurting her body. And then Gabriel takes this fucking bed, flips it over, and it crushes Sydney's legs. So she's like immobilized right now, and then she's trying to get to Maddie. Because I think at this point, Gabriel, took the gun and has it up against Sydney's head. And then you get a little disoriented here. But before it gets into it, one of the things that she's trying to get Maddie to snap out of it says, Gabriel's using you. He's been essentially like eating your babies. So that's why they're miscarriages all the time. He's like drawing the power, like
the nutrients and shit.
So it's fucked up that he literally like stole all these potential like children
lives.
So you get a little disoriented because you see Maddie kind of snap out of it a little bit, but then you see Sydney get shot, like she's dead. And then I think Serena is about to die, and then he like suffocates her. And then we find out that Maddie turned the tides. So now she has been making Gabriel see things when it's usually Maddie the one that has to see things.
So she made him think that he killed both of them. Yeah,
but he's literally just standing there with the gun to Sydney's head, because even Sydney's like, well, oh fuck, but then she realizes like, oh, okay, so she's essentially taking control, and then Maddie locks him in this giant cell essentially. And then he like
a mental prison
recedes back into her head, which is fucking gross as shit.
I know.
I think she says, now you get to live in a world that I create. And
he was like, I'll get out, and she's like, and I'll be ready next time.
Yeah. And then when Maddie eventually comes back, she goes to help Sydney, and then Sydney's like, oh no, you can't lift that, it's too heavy. And she's like,
it's been my body the whole
always my body.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think that she had that much strength and that much mobility. That pretty much ends Malignant.
Did we get into I think the part where that kind of explains in detail what like Gabriel is to, like how they couldn't remove him all the way because they were connected at the brain, and then so they tucked him in there.
He was like when the egg was supposed to split or whatever, it didn't go all the way.
Yeah, so he developed like limbs and teeth and shit.
Yeah, so when they show him, he's like all like rah, like literally,
and it's fucking terrifying,
gross alien looking thing. But they managed to pretty much take the arms away and most of his chest. It's just really just the head and some I think they took all the teeth out, but there's like an eyeball, and then just
yeah, because they would have
fucked up
given her like
flesh.
brain damage if they did any more. But...
yeah, so they literally took out as much as they possibly could, without killing Maddie.
And they had to like cut her skull open and tuck them in there, and
Yeah, it was very.
think back to the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, so when she smacked her head, that's when it
We'll
all.
woke them up, and
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. So this is why I always say this is like
and that's what the opening scene too with the surgery was.
yeah. So
It explains everything at the end, basically.
it's all right there in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even the first like 5 minutes.
But
it's
you don't
all
even
right
know
there.
it.
You don't know it until you watch it, and then you watch it again, and you're like, "Holy fuck, you're right." It is all
Probably gonna
right
go watch
there.
this when I get home now again.
Yeah, it's fucking. It's a great movie. There's a lot that happens the last like 10 or 15 minutes. It's very quick, but the whole build up to this is great. I love
And it's
the
not like it's a
twist.
slow burn either.
No, it's very action packed. Like it kind of turns more from like a almost psychological like horror to an action horror, and then
With like Jalo twists.
yeah, it's so crazy. It really is, and it's really funny too because Dean's friend Dan that I do the other podcast with, he has a theory that I love this. When he said this is also another way to kind of like think of this, is that he says that James Wan has been doing like these like sneaky remakes. Essentially, he says that Insidious is like his remake of Poltergeist, which is kind of true. And then he says Malignant is a sneaky remake of Basket Case.
Huh.
I don't remember. I think you have seen Basket Case.
I've seen bits and pieces at least, but I do. I
It
know
does
the
make
gist of
sense
it.
because Basket Case is
Like a
twins.
twin, yeah.
So it's it's a deformed twin, and essentially Gabriel is a deformed twin who
And
kills.
the person's being
And-
manipulated.
Yeah, and Belial kills in Basket Case. So it's really funny that you said that. So it's another like way to kind of
Look at it.
it's a remake of Basket Case. So for anybody who has seen this movie,
But like with James Wan, like
with a lot of other elements in it, obviously, but it's like a loose remake. So I think
that's actually a cool way to think about it.
yeah. So like when he said that, it's actually on one of the podcast episodes I think I did with Dean that he says that, and it's very interesting. So I don't take credit for that. That's all Dan. But yeah, that's another way to look at it. So I guess final verdicts before we get into our other segment. Oh man, I love this film, and like I know I really shouldn't be so biased when it comes to films that I really love. I really should be doing it at a critical standpoint, but I really think that this movie is flawless. I can't really think of too many things that's questionable. Because even if you do question it, it's very logical.
It doesn't leave anything like said or like open.
It's a ride, dude.
It is. From beginning to end.
Yeah, I hope people don't hate me for this, but I'm gonna give this a fucking 10 out of 10 blood splatters, dude. It's a 10 out of 10 because I've seen this movie so many times. It's fun as fuck. The score is amazing. The acting, I think, is really good. I love Maddie's whole confused character because she has to be. She's living in this really weird world. Everybody else is just as confused, and the twists and turns that happen, I think, happen so naturally that it's confusing as fuck, but it's natural. You don't see it coming, even though it's all literally right there in the first like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can't speak any higher than that. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot, and it is a fucking wild ride, and like you don't I love that you don't realize it, but like you said, everything is right in front of you, but you don't realize it until the end, and you're like, whoa, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're big fans of Jalo here.
Yes.
So
we
you
will
got
be
those,
covering more Jalo, I promise.
yeah. So you got those, those vibes, and it's just like a nice modern American take on it, I guess you can say. But in it's like I said, it's not a slow burn. It keeps you invested, keeps you on your toes, and it doesn't like I said, doesn't leave anything to open to where you're confused at the end. It ties up all.
It answers everything.
But that being said, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay.
Just because I don't want to be.
Nothing is perfect. Yeah. I know, Aaron. I know.
Not that I found anything wrong with it, but
yeah, it's a super fun film.
It is. I really enjoyed it. It's very good.
Yeah. So I think, without further ado, let's move on to
comments from the void.
Our comments from the void segment. We actually have a lot this week. Because on Twitter, I do this thing of where I ask people their thoughts on the movies that we do every Saturday, and we have 5 or 6 responses this week.
Oh, yeah.
So, we have one from A.V. Fields. And she says, James Wan turned trauma into freedom here and teaches us the past is never at rest, but patiently awaiting, lingering. Malignant explores wrath of the body against his own curated nightmares. That's what he does best. That's such a great response. So, yes, shout out. I can't agree with that more. Aaron, if you want to read the next one.
Yeah. That was the Screams?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so we got the host of Screams Horror Podcast, who you guys know, says, we definitely dished on my show about it, and I gotta say, fun as fuck ride.
Oh yeah. It really is a ride. It really is. Then we have Movies for Days, and they say, I admit there's a lot to love in this flick and some serious skill on display, but it really wasn't for me. I think at the end of the day, I'm just not a big fan of James Wan. So I mean, that's understandable.
That's fair, though.
They're not saying it's
everyone.
like an awful movie or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's just not for them, and everybody has their things that are good and some that aren't.
Then from Genre Exposure, a film podcast, we got it may be the most James Wan-y movie that he has made. If you've seen all his films, you know exactly what that means. And if you dig his style like I do, then this movie was very easy to love. That being said, I can totally understand how it didn't land for some.
And it's funny because one of their hosts is named Dustin. So shout out to the Dustins out there. Hell yeah, man. I agree. It's definitely the most James Wanian because he fucking literally did what he wanted to do, you know? And then we have Dissect That Film. To be honest, I didn't like it. I thought Annabella Wallace's performance was flat and was expecting more scares. It just didn't hit me more like I hoped. I love the guys at Dissect That Film, but I think they kind of missed a point of this film. I don't like to go after comments, and I don't want them to think I'm going after them. I just think that I don't think they really understood the premise. Is that the reason why it's kind of falling flat for her? I think is because, like we said, she's a confused person throughout this whole movie. You know. And I honestly, even going into this, I wasn't expecting a lot of scares. So I mean, some people probably are, but if you've seen James Wan's films, there are scares, but it's way more about
like the psychological
story
and the story.
The story that's going on. But I think I even messaged them after, and I was telling them about the basket case thing I was telling you about, and like, oh, I'm gonna go and rewatch that now. So I hope that with that rewatch and that mindset, that maybe it might have tilted the scales a little bit for you guys. Yeah. And here's the last one. Go ahead, Aaron.
Drunky Bear here.
Yep, he's from the Cinema Drunkies.
All right. So Drunky Bear says, the movie that reignited my love for the horror genre. I love this batshit insane movie so much.
Hell yeah, brother. So, I mean, see, this is a very mixed film, and
that's okay. That's good, right though. There. You know,
it's a great film. I think it holds up to everything that it was, kind of advertising, even though a lot of it kind of went over everybody's heads. Because if you go and watch the trailers now, you're like, that makes sense. Just like how we were saying, within the first 5 or 10 minutes, everything's fucking right there. Yeah. I think it's great. It's a great fucking film. If you haven't watched it, it is on HBO Max. I'm waiting for this to come out on probably Steelbook. I would love to get like a full poster of just Malignant.
Oh, like that cover there.
Because I love the color, the cover, and just the art and everything for this film. This score is amazing. There's really nothing I can say bad about this film. I don't think. But I think before we end this, I think we can probably talk about what we have on the works right now, Aaron, for our midweek
episodes.
So we're gonna be starting a new midweek
like segment, I guess, or series.
Yeah, it's gonna be like its own series. We're obviously still going to be doing our movie reviews. These aren't going away. These are still going to be coming out every Sunday for our Patreons and every Monday for our for everybody else. But we have decided to open up one other day to do guest spots, and we have a lot of cool guests lined up. I guess I can probably say them now, unless you think we shouldn't.
I think we should do them one at a time.
One at a time.
We'll keep it mysterious.
So I will say that this week we actually have 2 recordings, but the first one that's going to be coming out that I'm really excited for, it's the whole reason why this podcast really exists, is that we are going to be interviewing, it's not going to be a movie review, even though they do movie reviews just like us, but this is more of a how did it start and stuff like that. We're going to be interviewing Candy and Sean from The House That Screams, and that will be the first episode that comes out, not this week but the following week. I'm going to be dropping them probably every Wednesday. We have another one we're going to be recording before we do that one. That'll be on Friday, but we'll leave that one up to probably Saturday when we record with Sean. So, because I might release, what I'm thinking is for the first week, I might release both of these interviews, not at the same time, but one on Wednesday and one on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll play with that, but we're going to be doing a new segment. It's going to be called Within the Barrens, and it's going to be all about interviews and guest spots. And we have some really cool shit.
Focus on the guest.
Yeah, so no worries. Our reviews will still be here, but the podcast is going in a way right now that I feel like we are able to do the guest spots comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have been getting a lot of people listening to our podcasts pretty much everywhere. We've been getting a lot of comments on YouTube that I need to go and respond to after this as well, that are really cool. But thank you for everybody who does listen to us. This has been nothing but a ride for both of us, especially on Good Pods. We've been ranking in the top five right now. We're number 2 in fiction and indie fiction charts, so that's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
And we've only been doing this for like a year and 4 months or some shit like that.
Not even a year and a half.
So thank you guys so much for all the support. Seriously, it means a lot. But I think on that note, if you don't have anything else you want to say, Aaron, we can tape it off here.
Yeah, I think we about said it all that needs to be said for now.
All right. This was the Barons Hideout Podcast. I was your host, Dustin.
And I was your co-host, Aaron.
I'm going to catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for the support, guys.
Stay spooky.